I'm not so sure that you know the difference between to climb mountain by the normal route as in commercial expeditions, or to do it by a new route in alpine style. Normal route of 8,000 meters peak used to be with fixed ropes. Before the climbers start working on the route, there are some specialists who fix ropes on the route so that the alpinist can go up Jumarin using a device to go by the ropes, and they use these ropes to climb the mountain. They rarely need the use of ISACs, just use crampons, because they use these fixed ropes. So to open a new route, it means that you are using your own ropes, that you are climbing the route, that you are not using fixed ropes, you are not using high altitude porters, and you are not using oxygen. In addition to this, to open new route in alpine style, it means that you are not acclimatizing on the route. You are not carrying equipment and food along the route, making deposits. It means that in the moment that you start climbing the route, you are not going down. You just climb full route to the top, carrying all the necessary to survive. Your tent, your equipment, your food. So it's one step, one level more in the difficulty. So for this attempt, for this new route, it was necessary an extraordinary previous preparation. It was not just that we are climbers and one day we decide let's go to open a new route. Denis and me, we are climbing together already for 10 years, for the last 10 years. In these 10 years, we have been doing very specific trainings, but also we have been accumulating the necessary experience in other mountains to attempt a new route in alpine style. We have been climbing in Italy, in Spain, in the Alps, but also we did some previous expeditions to Tian Shan range, where we opened also a new route in alpine style in 6,000 meters peak. We also went to Caucasus range, where we opened a new route in alpine style in one of the most technical mountains in the Caucasus, in Uzba. And this was our third attempt to open a new route in 8,000 meters peak. The first attempt was in G2, and luckily I had one accident. So Denis opened a new solo route. 2 years ago, we summit G1 by the normal route. We did 2 attempts to a new route, and luckily, because of the bad conditions, high risk of avalanche due to the strong winds, was not possible. So this was our third attempt, and finally, in incredible difficult mountain, we were able to do it, and we are very, very happy that it has been here in Pakistan, because it's a country that we very love because of its mountains and because of its people. So, as he was explaining, the base camp of Nanga Parbat by Diamir face is the lowest of the 8,000 meters peak. Here is not appearing, it will be somewhere here at an altitude of 4,125 meters. It's very comfortable base camp, of course, because base camp normally are on the moraines, on the glaciers, at 5,000 meters, as in K2, Broad Peak, or Glacier Blooms. So it's very comfortable base camp, full of flowers, grass, a lot of oxygen, where you can rest very well. This is very important. but it makes one of the biggest walls because of the difference of altitudes, almost 4,000 meters in the world. To open a new route in alpine style, as you are not acclimatizing on the route, you need to do very good acclimatization before to start the climbing of the new route. So, for the Nanga Parbat, normally people is not going to Escardu, let's go to Chilas, and then Ser village and arrive to the base camp. But Denis and me, we came a couple of weeks before, we went to Escardu, and we were acclimatizing in the mountains of Escardu, around Escardu. Are non-well mountains, very few people go to these mountains, and are wonderful mountains. Just for alpinists, but also for trekkers, hikers. Nice, very nice mountains. So when we arrived in May, still some of these mountains were full of snow, and it was very good for us to do this first step of the acclimatization. We start climbing 3,000 meters peak, then we did some 4,000 and 5,000 meters peaks. But very close, very near Escardu, mountains are just to 5,000 meters. So after doing this acclimatization during 2 weeks, very hard because from the base where we start these mountains to the top, some of them were 1,800 meters different of altitude, easy mountains, but in any case challengeable. So we went to the Nanga Parbat base camp, and from the base camp we continue our acclimatization in Ganalo Peak. Ganalo Peak is really beautiful mountain that also very few people climb, and we acclimatized to 6,000 meters. It was not enough, so finally, as we didn't have any other chances to arrive to 7,000 meters, we used the normal route to finalize our acclimatization. So on the first attempt from the base camp, we arrived to this altitude. Normally people fix this is camp 3 of the normal route, but we establish our tent little bit upper. Here is 6,800 meters. We pass 3 nights at this altitude, and from here we went a little bit upper to this plateau to 7,200 meters. So we passed 3 nights, we went down, and we finished our acclimatization. We rest 4 days on the base camp before our attempt to the new route. Here on this map you can see, okay, plus minus base camp will be here. You need to traverse first part of the glacier. This year, because of the very hot high temperatures, camp 1 was without the snow, and the conditions of the normal route were very risky, very technical, with a lot of ice and a lot of stone falls. This is the normal route. Here is camp 1, then traverse a little bit to the left, and all this part is named Kinshoffer Couloir. Before to arrive to the camp 2 is the most technical part of the route, that is Kinshoffer Wall. Then camp 2, camp 3, as I told here. Here, plus minus, it depends. People used to fix tents here or here is camp 4 of the normal route, and here to the right is the last part of the normal route. Denis and me, as I told, we rest 4 days. During these 4 days, almost all the commercial expeditions finish their summit push.
Yeah, so I met her when I was coming down, and I was getting from camp 1 to base camp, and both of them were going up.
Yes,
just
exactly.
Crossing the glacier.
Yes. He was coming back from his summit, and Denis and me, we were starting our new route. So next day, all the expeditions.
अभी आगे आ जाए. Why don't you come up front and also
Yeah, come
you
here,
can also
come.
introduce yourself. आप अपना तारुफ भी करा दें.
Basically, I'm Dr. Anasan, and I was on Nanga Parbat this year, and I summited with 7 summits on the 3rd of July, and was coming back, I think on the 5th, you were going.
5th.
And Dr. Shaida is also with us over here. She submitted G2 last year with, so both of us
Why
submitted
don't you stand up also?
G2. So we submitted G2 last year.
Okay, yeah. So after resting, we start our new route. We passed through Camp 1, but we didn't stay in Camp 1. Our Camp 1 was here. So we passed Camp 1. We traverse all this glacier. This is Diama Glacier. In this glacier disappear Mameri and his team. This that appear here is Mameri Spur. Is very well known part of Diamir face of Nanga Parbat. Mameri Rib, this part. But because Mameri was very well known alpinist, did one attempt here, but finally, okay, he was not able with his team. They went back here. They went by Diama Glacier and they disappeared in this Diama Glacier. Denis is full of crevasses. It's very, very risky. So we crossed one part of this Diama Glacier. We established our first camp the first day here at an altitude of 5,352 meters. We passed the afternoon, and in the middle of the night we woke up and start the approach by this zone, also full of crevasses. We needed to went down a little bit, 50 meters, until the beginning of the route. The beginning of the route, it was one couloir, one corridor, icy corridor, and our idea was to start by the left side because it was protected by these bastions of rocks, because here there was a serac. Serac is a big amount of ice and snow that is hanging. And luckily it was very hot and there was no snow here that gave us the possibility to pass. So the first 200 meters we needed to go by the right side, and we climb, we call an ensemble with rope, but without fixing any hacks, any ice screw, just very, very fast climbing together the first 200 meters until we were safety from the seracs. Then start the most steep part of the couloir, sometimes 60 degrees, even 80 degrees. Here we were climbing already, fixing our anchors with ice screws. Denis climbed, I belay him, and then I arrived to the next anchor, and then we continue by pitches our climbing. When we did 14 pitches already, sun appeared. We were climbing full night and sun appears. Sun was touching the upper part of the couloir, and then a lot of stones start falling exactly by our way. The problem is that was a narrow couloir and all the stones were in our way. One stone kicked me on the leg, then one on the shoulder, and it started being bigger and bigger. So we went to the left side of the corridor. We dig one small platform and we needed to sit there during 7 hours. We were waiting again the night, so the snowfalls stopped because of the lower temperatures. We wait until 7 p.m. and then we restart the climbing, and we climb full night, 19 pitches more. Until here, plus minus. So finally was 33 pitches of ice climbing. Because from here to here, the difference of altitude is 1,000 meters. Yeah, already here we arrived to 6,350 meters. We climb full night. We arrived here to this camp at 10:30 in the morning. It was a place still quite steep, so it was difficult to find a place where to establish the tent, and we found one crevasse, and the lip of the crevasse normally is more flat, so we established our tent there. It was, as I told, 10:30 in the morning. We were thinking to rest a little bit, to drink, to eat something, and continue for not to lose full day, because we already lost many hours, here 7 hours, waiting because of the stone falls. But unluckily in the afternoon arrived a strong storm, and it started with heavy snowfall. We are able to walk under the snowfall, but the wind was very, very strong and also was very foggy. So it didn't let us to see the way. So we needed to stay on the tent until the night again, and around 2 or 3 in the night we continue with our climbing. Here is a glacier on the left side. It's full of crevasses and very deep snow. So we decide to continue climbing by the ridge. This is mixed ridge. Mixed, it means that mix rocks and snow. And by the ridge to continue was more technical, but we avoid the crevasses and the deep snow. So we climb all this ridge. Here is Black Pyramid, and here we needed to make little bit loop, also to avoid this zone of crevasses. We did traverse through the glacier, also avoiding some crevasses, and in the next ridge we established our third camp, already at an altitude of 7,000 meters. Every afternoon was a storm and snowfalls with 20-30 centimeters of snow in addition. We were quite unlucky with the weather, because if you remember, there were 12 days of incredible good weather.
Yes, and it became so hot that all the snow melted. The weather was so good that it melted all the snow.
Yes. So in the low part was very few snow, a lot of ice, stone falling, but in the upper part was accumulating a lot of snow. This part already ahead was difficult in addition to the altitude. We passed 4 days over 7,000 meters. To be at such an altitude takes a lot of energy to the body, and in addition to the effort that you are doing during your climbing. Here were 2 traverses with the risk of avalanche from the upper part. In fact, when we arrived here, we decided to continue, and when we were in the middle of this corridor, one avalanche fell down in front of us. So we checked at the time, also one new storm was coming, and we decided to go back and pass the night here and start again our climbing during the most cold hours in the night. So we continue, and in the second traverse, it was very risk of avalanche, and we decide to stop in one point of the traverse and go up and climb through the mixed terrain where we were safety of the avalanches. Once we pass this part, we cross with a normal route, with Kinshoffer route in this point. This point is 7,150 meters. Our idea was, okay, plus minus, to continue this zone by the normal route, but because of the snowfalls. There was a lot of snow accumulating here. Was very, very risky. So we climb up by the deep snow to be more safety of the avalanche and the cover crevasses in this zone. We established our last camp at 7,200 meters. We rest a few hours, and at midnight we start preparing ourselves for the summit push. It was very, very cold night. In opposite to the very hot temperatures until 6,000 meters, this night inside of our tent was completely frozen. Denis told me minus 25 degrees. So it was difficult to move, to start, to that the body react, but was necessary to start very early, because also in this last part, this last pyramid of Nanga Parbat, we also open a new place. For us was strange that no one before tried to climb by this corridor, because it's wonderful, it's very beautiful. But of course, the reason is why, while the normal place for the attempt to the summit is not so steep, this corridor it's at the beginning so steep that the snow is not accumulating, so it means it's full of ice, and here we needed to climb alone by pitches, belaying the partner during 4 or 5 pitches. Then it was a little bit more flat, and we finished the corridor again, joining in the last part, doing one traverse to the right with the normal route. This same day that we summit, we went back to our tent. We left our tent here and rest. In addition to the deep snow, summit day was 90 kilometers per hour wind. My summit photo is sitting on one stone because the strong wind was throwing me down. It was hurricane, it was very, very strong, yes. Once that we open full new route, we use the normal route for the descent. Yes, because it was crazy. It was, yes, to try to go down by the same way. So this part was with such a lot of snow, we were destined in, and avalanches were coming same time with us. Luckily, we're not too much deep. We arrived to our tent, we rest a little bit, we collect all our things, and in that same day, we descend by the normal route to the base camp. It was 3,000 meters difference of altitude that we did in 12 hours. The first part from our last camp, from the tent to camp 3, we did it quite fast using the fixed ropes, because all this part is just snow. But once that we arrived near the camp 2, everything was ice and stones, and after all the expeditions left the mountain, and because of the hot conditions and the stones falls, many of the ropes were broken, and also the anchors were out because of the high temperatures, ice screws, everything. So this part we needed to do very accurately, very slowly, and using our own ropes and our ice screws and climbing down. We needed to do it very safely, because also during all the route we accumulate a lot of tiredness. We were a little bit, not little bit, but exhausted. So we arrived, we start our climbing on 5th July, and we arrived to the base camp on 11th July. It was 5 days to open the route and 1 day down. Base camp was completely empty. We were completely alone in the mountain. In addition to this, many people, when are trying new routes or even the normal routes, are taking with them satellite phones or satellite devices to contact in case happens something, there is one accident, or to do this route in so few days, it's necessary to climb very fast, and to climb very fast is necessary to go very light. In this reason, Denis and me, we carry just only one sleeping bag, just the necessary food, very few food, very light tent and very light clothes. We are not taking the normal down heavy suits that people using for the 8,000 meters. We use down jacket and Primaloft pants because in any case we are climbing very fast and we keep our bodies warm. Yes. The problem that finally we use one day more, and the last day we didn't have anything to eat and very few to drink. But it's the only way to climb such a route is very light alpine style. So if you have any questions, because I'm speaking, but yes.
One thing that she explained that throughout, right from the beginning till the end, they didn't do any of the conventional traditional route. Even the last camp they established north of, well north of the normal route. Can you?
Yes, of course.
This is their last camp. So, and the normal route is here to the summit.
Yes.
They remain north of the normal route throughout, and then they started. They were on the left of the conventional route, quite left of the very.
Yes, exactly. Thanks.
So the highlight of their expedition is that they did it in alpine style. They did the acclimatization well in area of Skardu peaks, and then when they came here, then they acclimatized by going up to the 3 camp by normal route, and then and the ridge on the left.
Ganalo peak.
Ganalo peak. So this is all.
Yes. In case you can pass now the photos one by one, I will tell you. Now you will see with much more detail the parts of the route.
There's one question.
Yes. This is the first.
So